Welcome to the 47th session on operating system and Linux. I'm Manibhushan D'Souza, and today we are going to continue with the shell programming. So this is the part 2 of shell programming. In today's class, we are going to look at control statement as well as the iterative statement. We know that whenever we write a program, sometimes we may have to take action based on some condition. And one of the simplest statement that can be used for controlling the flow of the program is the if statement. There are different formats in which if statement can be used. The simplest form of a if statement is you have if followed by the condition and then specify the then here, which is not there in your other programming language. So you specify if, write the condition, then whatever commands that you want to execute, and then to close the if you write the reverse of if. So you write if is if, reverse of that is efi. So you have to write it in that order. You have also seen in the programming language there is if and else statements are there. So how do you write the if and else statement? Again, same thing, if followed by the condition, then write the command, else write the command. You can write more than one set of command, then fi to close it. The next is the if else if statement. So how do you write the if else if statement? So you write the if condition, then the command, else if. Look at how it is written, elif. So look at this one, very important thing. Elif is else if. It is not elsif, it is elif. Else if condition, then write the command. You can do like this, and finally else the command, and then fi. So let's look at this in action. I have already logged into the Mint OS here, and if you have followed me in the last class, I have one file here in my BSD demo which is now empty. I have cleared everything inside it. So let's look at how we can use that thing. So let me take a number here. So let me read a number, echo, not in capitals, definitely, echo. Let me start this time. Let me start with a capital. Enter a number, and then you read a number from your last class. You know this one. You read a number. Let me echo that number. That's all. First thing I'm going to do that. This is I've already done in the last class. So how do I execute it? Look at here. I'm there inside BSC demo, so I can directly write ex1.sh, and it's going to tell me that okay, let me sh it, ex1.sh, enter a number 5, and you get that thing. So if I want to compare whether the number 5 is greater than 10 or not, so how do I write that thing? So let me write the first thing. So if you use the square bracket, if, remember you have to use, let me zoom in for you so that you can see it. So if $number, now I can't use this symbol because it is a redirection symbol. Remember that you can't even use this symbol, it's a redirection symbol. So to use that you say that gt is greater than, okay, so GE is greater than or equal to. So this is same as you're writing this in your programming language. You can't use this symbol because you know this symbol is not valid here. So GE, and you write the number, let's say 10. If the number is greater than 10, this is what I'm going to do it. Then I'm going to say, echo number. Let me put it in double quotes. If you want, you can put it. Okay, number $num is greater than 10. Okay, and how do you close the if statement? Fi to close the if statement. So this is how you do it. Let me try and let me execute it. So if I run this program and enter a number 4, I will not get any output here except the echo statement which is here at the bottom. Let me remove that so that it will not confuse you. So if the number is less than 10, you will not get any output. However, if the number is greater than 10, you get 13 is greater than that. Now what if I want to compare two numbers and find out which among them is greatest? I use the second format. So let me enter the first number and let me enter the second number, and let's do that thing. So I'm going to say this is number 1 and this is number 2. Okay, so how do I compare? Enter second number, enter, let's say enter first number, you get the first number, read the first number, and then you say enter second number, you get the second number, and you compare whether number 1 is greater than second number. So let me do that thing, number 2. If that's the case, I'm going to say number 1 is greater than number 2. Okay, else, look at the statement here, else, I'm going to copy the whole thing again, else number 1 is less than number 2. Let's try this one. So I'm going to run this one. First number is 10, second number is 5. So number 10 is greater than number 2. Did I wrote that number 2 there? It is not a sum. Did I wrote a sum there? I don't know why. Okay. Again I'm writing sum. Where is n? Okay. So this is, sorry about that. This is sum. It is not, sorry, it is not sum. It is number 2. So let's try it one more time. Okay, so enter a number 10 and enter a number 5. Number 10 is greater than 5. Enter a number 5 and enter a number 10. 5 is less than 10. So you've done that thing. What if you want to use the other one, that is what if you want to check for the equality? How do you do that thing? So if the number is greater than number 2, you say that. Now I'm going to use the else if. What is the condition is LF. Look at that, LF condition. What is the condition? I'll take it from here itself so that the video length can be reduced. So number is equal to number 2. What are you going to do? Okay, I'm going to print it again, number so let's print it. And what is number 1 is equal to, let's go and let's do that thing, equal to number 2. So LF is else if the number is equal, you are going to print this one, and otherwise you are going to print the other one. It's as simple as that. So let's try it. Let me clear it and let's try that thing. So you have the, where is the, you have the number. Let's go with the first 10 and 5. So syntax error, else, what is the error? Okay, I'm sorry, you need to write the then here. Then is required. Okay, when you have the condition, you have to write the then, otherwise it will not accept it. So it's a syntax error. Let's try it one more time. Okay, let me try it. Enter the number 5, enter a number 4. Number 5 is greater than 4, correct. Enter the number 4, enter the number 5, number 4 is less than, okay, that's done. Enter a number 5, second number is 5, 5 is equal to, EQ, I think I have to learn English from English department. So let's not bother about that. Okay, so with that we have come to the end of that if statement. So this is how you can use the if statement. So I will not explain it again here, because you know very well how it really goes. Now when we use the if statement, you can use the test. The one way is to test something, you can use the square bracket in order to achieve that thing. The other way around is there is a command called as a test that can be used for testing the arguments. So the testing, for example, if you want to test two strings, you can say test first string and the second string. If you want don't want if you want, this is equality. Not equal means you can use that not equal. Z means it is a zero length string. Minus n means it is a non-zero length string. Okay, so again you have the same thing, equal, not equal to, greater than, less than, or equal to. You can always use with the numerical operator. With the file also you can test them. So with the, if you have the file, if you want to check whether the existing the file exists, that is minus e, whether the it's a regular file, minus ef, whether it is a directory, d, whether the file is readable, whether the file is writable, whether the file is executable, rwx, and whether the size of the file is greater than 0. You can test them using the test operator. Okay, so for example you can say that if test minus r AC. AC is, let's assume that it's a file. If the file exists, you say that file exists. Otherwise, you say file does not exist. You can also combine the like your the other programming language. You have the not, you have the and minus a, and you have the or minus o. You can combine them and do it. You can do it even with the square bracket. You can try them. Okay. So let me quickly try that thing. I'm going to try it here itself. I'm going to try it with only one of them. So here, so if you are using test, how do you do that? You say test dollar number one greater than dollar number two. This is how you try that thing. So generally we don't do that thing, whether it works or not. I prefer to use the square bracket, because the reason is square bracket is much easier to understand and write. So let me try that thing. So 5 and 4. Okay, so 5 and 4 I have done. So it is tested. So number, this is the first test, number greater than, first number is greater than the second number. So this is the test. You can write this one, test number 1, number 2, or you can use a square bracket. And definitely by now you just realize that putting a square bracket is much easier, even though you are not used to it in your C programming language, but you just realize that it is much easier to use the square bracket. Now let's look at the other statement, and that is the case statement. This is a switch statement in your C programming language. So how do you write that thing? You say case value in, then you say first value, write the command, and second value, write the command, third value, write the command, and finally you close it. Remember, you closed if with the reverse of if. You have to close case with the reverse of that. So you have to write everything in reverse order. Then you will be able to get that thing. So reverse it and you get ESAC. So case, you close it like that. Let me try it very quickly. So let me go here and let me say enter a number. Let me keep that first part. So what I have is I read a number. Okay, let me take it as number itself. So what is that? I am saying case dollar number in. Okay, if it is 1, you might have done this kind of program. So you say echo and you say it is Sunday. You might have done this one in your C program. Okay, then you put 2 semicolon. This is equivalent to break that you put in the switch statement. Okay, then you say case number 2 you say it is, I think you have done this one, hope you've done that thing, Monday. Okay, case 3, have you done this program in your C program? Tuesday, have you done this one? 3. And default in C was there, we have default, but you have star here. Case star means case default. Echo, you say I'm too busy for this, something of that type. Okay, that's not the end of it. Okay, then if you want to put that, and then EASA, that's, this is not ESAC, sorry, ESAC. This is not really required. The last one is not required, but you can try them. So this is the case statement. Let's try it now. Okay, enter a number 1, you must, okay, it is Sunday, very good. Enter a number 2, it is Monday. Enter a number 5, I'm too busy for this. So hope you get that thing. This is the default in your case statement. So as simple as that, you can always try them. Let's go to the next one. So once you know that, you can use it. For example, you are taking a choice here. If the, let's go, if the choice is L, you say that you are printing ls statement. If the choice is free, you print the date, and so on and so forth. You type some value and just show the result. Let's look at the next type of statement, and that is the iterative statement. Iterative is the looping statement, and the first looping statement that you might encounter is the while loop. So what you have here is a while, then you have a condition, do and done. Remember, unlike your C programming language, you don't have this open and close flower bracket. It is do and done. So in between do and done, what you have, this is called as a, what is this called as? It's the body of the loop. Remember, in between do and done, you get the body of the loop. So let's try it. So doing is believing. So let me not close this one. Okay, let's go to the mint here, and let's try it. Let me try this one. I want a number. Let me have that number. So what do you have here? So I have the number here. Let me initialize count equal to 1. I think you've done this kind of program. And sum is equal to 1. Have you done this, or at least can you guess what I'm trying to do now? So while, so I use a square bracket, while what number is less than or equal to, what is this? Well, not a number, let me say while count, not the count, count less than or equal to, LE less than or equal to, LT means less, strictly less than, LT means less than or equal to, what is that you are supposed to say? Number. So not, why I'm getting that sum. Okay, then what you have to say? Do. Then what you have to say? Done. In between, what are you going to do? You are supposed to find the sum. Now very important thing, how do you write this one? In C you write leisurely, you write to C sum is equal to sum plus count, or sum equal to sum plus I, something you write little like that. You can't do this here. Okay, this automatically it will not do the valuation. Then what to do? First important thing, you are not supposed to put spaces in between the equal sign. Next one, in order to achieve this one, to get the value of sum, you have to put the dollar sum. So these two things, again you will not be able to get it. There is something called as expr. There is a command called as expr, which will be able to evaluate the expression. It will evaluate this expression. What is this expression? Adding two numbers is the expression, but it will evaluate for you. But this is a command, so I will put, you know very well, I told you in the last class, if at all you want to execute a command, put it inside a backquote. And very important, remember not to put the spaces. Okay, so let's, then what you have, count plus plus, you write like this, count plus plus. In a C program it's not going to work here. So count is equal to, again back quote. Where is this back quote? By the way, it is close to the escape. Remember, it is not the single quote or double quote, it's a back quote which is very close to the escape, that is the one that I'm using. So count is equal to count plus 1. Okay, so then this is the your while loop. It's going to, what it's going to do, it will find the sum of n numbers. Echo dollar sum, that's enough. Okay, do you want me to write it in English? Sum of dollar n is, okay, so it looks beautiful. Let's see whether there is an error. If there is an error, let's do that, correct it. Enter a number 3. Sum is is it 7? Yes, 3 plus 2 is 5 plus, oh, how did it become 7 now? 3 plus 2 is 5. I think, am I getting one next? Oh yes, sure. What is the error? This is a logical error. Sum has to be initialized to 0. If I initialize sum equal to 1, I'll get 1 extra. That's simple as that. Let me try it again. Sum of the two numbers 1 and sum of 4 numbers, 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. So what is it? Yes, you know very well. Okay, if you don't know, that's the correct answer. So you get it. Hope you get the idea how it really works. So this is your while loop. So there is nothing much in here. If you know C programming while loop, it is the same thing. The syntax is only different. Let's look at the until loop. What is the until loop? What's the difference between while loop and the until loop? In the while loop, the condition must be true. So remember, in the while loop, the condition must be true. In the until loop, what is it? The condition must be false. As long as the condition is false, it's going to repeat it. The minute the condition becomes true, it's going to come out. Now, very interesting thing that you must understand before I go to the while loop. You must understand this very important concept here. So listen carefully. What is this? Is when I type the ls, suppose if I say cat and ex1.sh, you know very well what it's going to do. Cat is going to concatenate, but it's going to show it on the screen. This command, cat command, executed successfully. That is why it's able to show the result. So what did I say? It executed successfully. That's why it's able to show the result. Whenever a command executes successfully, so you notice here the command executed successfully. Once it executes successfully, once its work is complete, it's going to give a return a value 0. So what value it is returning? 0 to the operating system. So when you call a command, if the command does its work successfully, any command for that matter, whether ls, pwd, any command you think on Linux, if the command executes successfully, it returns 0. If it fails in between, for example, let me clear the clutter and let me go here. Let me clear the clutter here and let me try it one more time. And I am going to say sh1, it is not there. Now this thing said no file or directory. This command didn't execute it successfully. In that case, it will return a value which is not 0. Remember that. So when the command executes successfully, it is 0. If it fails for some reason, it returns a non-zero value to the operating system. Okay, remember that thing. Let's come back to the until statement. So how can I write the until statement? How can I change this with the until statement? So until statement, very simple. Where is the mouse pointer? Okay. So how do I change this one? Can I just change until? It's not going to work. Until what? Counter becomes, counter is already 1 until the counter becomes a greater than number. Remember, counter is already less than number, so you keep on increasing. Initially counter is 1, next time what the counter, so initially counter is 1, next time counter will become 2. Once the iteration, once it takes one iteration, counter becomes a 2. then one more iteration, counter becomes 3, one more iteration, counter becomes 4, until the counter becomes greater than the number. Repeat it. So as simple. Once the counter becomes greater than number, just stop the execution. So as simple as that. So do we get the same result? Where is the SH? Okay. If I say 4, am I getting the answer 10? So this is until loop. What's the difference? In while loop, the condition must be true. If the condition is true, the while loop is going to be executing. If the condition is false, while loop will exit. What about the until? Until is exactly opposite. If the condition itself is false, until will be very happy. Until the condition becomes true, it's going to repeat it. So hope you get the idea there. Let's go to the next. Sorry about this, I will not waste your video time in explaining that command. I've already demonstrated and you know what is it all about. So let's look at the other one, and the other one is the for loop. Slightly different. For a variable in a list of values, do it. So let's try with the for loop, a very different approach altogether. So I am going to say, I don't need all these things. I am going to say very simple. So you might have fed up with the other one. For I in 1 2 3, let me put this way, 1 2 3 4 5 6. What are this list of numbers? Let's say echo. If you, I don't know whether you'll be able to see this. So echo dollar, not this one, dollar I. Okay, where is the do and done? So as usual, do, done. That's all you need to do. It's a very simple, very straightforward. So let's try it. What are you going to get it? So if you try it, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So what is the for loop is doing? Initially it's going to take the value of I as 1. Okay, let me show both of these so you can get it. Okay, initially it takes the value of I, so I value is 1. For the next iteration, it takes the value of I as 2. Okay, so it prints the value 2, echo 2. For the next iteration, it's going to take the value of I as 3, so it's going to print the value as 3. How long it's going to print? Until all the list is exhausted. So in other words, let's say, you know what is this dollar star? You know what is this dollar star? Dollar star is a positional parameter. Watch my video again. So it's going to give you all the values which are supplied in the command prompt. So I've done that thing. So if you again got confused, do that thing. So let me go here and let me give the command prompt. So money, one item in the list, Asha, second item, Sudha, Ravi. Okay, I think it's going beyond the screen. Okay, that's enough. Press enter. So what the for loop will do now? So what is the for loop is doing? For loop is taking, now what is this for loop is doing? For loop is taking dollar star. What is a dollar star? All the items which are placed over here. So for the first iteration, it's going to take money. For the second iteration, it's going to take Asha. You can notice that. For the third iteration, what's it going to take? Sudha. And the fourth iteration, Ravi. So hope you get the idea that you are familiar with. So let me clear it. Let me clear this one. Okay, and let me try with the number. Can I supply the number? So let me supply the number. Okay, 5 7 8 2 3 say 3 3 2 1 something. Press enter, you're going to get it. So for all, this is what is this? For all the arguments, one at a time it takes and shows it. So that's a for loop that you can think of using. You must have a list of items. It just iterates over the list of items. Now you have two other statements which are always part of the looping structure. One is the break and the other one is continue. What does the break will do? So So what is the use of a break? So if you have a loop, generally what you have in the loop, what you generally get, you get a condition. Okay, that's generally in the loop what you get is a condition. There will be one condition, and what you do in this one, so then you execute. Okay, and you have set of statement, and then you repeat. Okay, so this is the thing. So what does the break statement will do? If you write a break statement, what's going to happen? Break will exit out of the loop. It will simply come out of the loop without iterating. It will simply come out of the loop. What does the continue will do? Whenever you encounter the continue, remaining statements inside the loop, remaining statements will not be executed. What does the continue will do? If you get a continue, it just goes back to the condition. Remember, when you encounter a continue, the remaining part in the body of the loop will not be touched. It will simply go to the condition again. So let's try with the statement over here. So I have some if statement. Okay, I'm going to use the if statement here. If so let's say if $I equal to not equal to what, equal to say 3. Okay, then where is the then? How do we write then in English? Okay, then break. If statement is closed with the fi. So how does this will work? If the value encountered is 3, it will break out of the loop. That means if you have 3 here, after 3 what is not printed? 2 and 1 should not print, because the loop will break directly here. Including 3 itself will not be printed. So otherwise you get all these numbers. You are all familiar. So let's try it. Oh, where is this missing? What is missing is, okay, I need one space there. If I try my C programming way, oh, where is it? Okay, you notice that you must be a bit careful with this kind of thing, because it is a command. In a C, if you put the bracket very close, C compiler is very forgiving. It forgives you for all your syntax and try to compile it on its own. But these things, they are not happy when you make a mistake. They will yell at you and say that you don't know how to write the syntax. Okay, so let's come back to the section now. So 5 was there. 5 is not equal to 3, so this full statement is not executed. That's why 5 appears with the echo. 6 was there. Next iteration, I takes the value 6. 6 is not equal to 3. This whole statement is not taken. 6 is printed. Next iteration. So where is the next iteration? Okay. Next iteration, 7 is taken. This 7 is not equal to 3, so this echo statement is printed. You get it. Next iteration, I gets the value 3. 3 is equal to 3. So what you get? You break out of the loop without bothering about the other numbers. You just break. You just come out of the loop and say, I had enough with this. I just want to come out. What about continue? So if I change this with the statement continue, what's going to happen? Okay, let's try it and let's see what's the difference. What's the difference? What is missing in this whole thing? 5, 6, 7 is there. 3 is not there. 2 and 1 is there. So you notice 2 and 1 is there. So what is happening? What is happening here is initially, so let's look at that thing. Initially, what is the value of I? I is 5. 5 is not, so 5 is not equal to 3. So this whole statement will not come into picture. So it's going to print the value of 5. So it's simple as that. So it's done it. Next iteration, what's going to happen? For I is equal to 6. 6 is not equal to 3, whole thing is not taken, it's going to print 6. So that has come. Next iteration, what is going to do? I is going to take the value 7. 7 is not equal to 3, we don't have any problem, this whole thing is not executed, this if structure itself is not executed, I value is printed, that's good. Next iteration, I value takes 3, so this time you are in trouble. So why you are in trouble? 3 is equal to 3, then continue. What's the meaning of saying continue? Don't go down and do execute anything, just come back from here itself and go for the loop. So go for the next iteration. So from here itself go to the next iteration. So if you go from here itself, if you go, this echo statement is not executed, that is why you don't see that 3 here. So it just goes to the next iteration. In the next iteration, what is the value of I? I value will be 2. So what's going to happen? 2 is not equal to 3. This statement will not be executed and it prints 2. The last iteration, what's going to happen? Value of it is 3. It's not going to execute the if statement. It's going to print that. So that's simple as that. So this is how you can use while and the continue and break statement. You can always use the break and continue statement. It's simple, it's the same as your old C program. Now there is one other thing that you must do is, in most of you in the class, what you do is you sleep. So how long will you sleep? So you may sleep for 5 minutes, you may sleep for 10 minutes, you may sleep for some. So if I want my program to sleep, I can use the command say sleep and I have to specify how many seconds. So if I say 5, this is going to sleep for 5 seconds and then execute. So you are telling the processor, be happy, don't worry, for 5 seconds don't do anything. After 5 seconds execute. So what happens, every loop, if you look at the here in my, if I don't just remove this, did I remove? Okay. If I remove this statement and if I execute, let me clear and execute. Microprocessor will quickly execute. Before you could blink, the answer is there with you. Now I am telling the microprocessor, take rest, you be like me. I am lazy, you too be like me. You are my computer, so be lazy like me. Wait for 5 seconds, we will do wait. When the last warning comes, we will submit the assignment. Till then we will wait. So we are like that. So let's go and sleep for 5 seconds and then run it. So if you do it now, you notice that for a few seconds it just waits and after 5 seconds it comes back. So if you really want to know it, I have a timer here. So let me start reset and let's start the timer, and you notice that the time passes by and passes by and passes by, and after every 5 seconds it's going to go, and it's a timer. Okay, you can notice I got some timerdate.com something. I got the timer from there. So that is what I am showing you there. So this is how you can get it. You can search the Google for timer and there are many websites which can give you that. So that's the sleep command. So with that I think I will wind up today's class. So I have explained about the for loop. You can use the for loop. And I am not explaining the PowerPoint again because you have already seen the demo. Once you seeing is doing is believing. Once you do it, you know what is it going about. Okay, so break command is used to exit the loop, and generally you break. Now there is with the break you have n here. What is the meaning of saying n here is, suppose if you have one for loop, inside that one more for loop, inside that one more for loop. Now if you write the break statement, the innermost for loop will break. That's a general thing. Whichever loop, whether it is a for loop, while loop or until loop, it's going to break the innermost loop, the one which contains that when I say innermost, the one that contains the break statement. Suppose when if something really goes bad, Remember, there is one for loop, inside that one more for loop, inside that one more for loop. If something goes bad and if you want to break, you just want to just come out of this, all the for loops. There is no point in repeating any of this for loop. You want to come out of all. So remember, this is the parent, this is the child, this is the grandchild. So if something happens in the grandchild, you just want to get rid of the parent or maybe grandchild, the grandparent. So in that case, you can specify the level. So if you say level 1 means you are here, level 2 means you are, even though you are coming out of this break, you are even breaking the level 2. If you say n is 3, level 3, that means the outermost. So you can say how many levels you want to come out. Okay, same thing is true even for the continue. How many levels that you can, in other words, how many enclosing loop statement has to be broken. Okay, so again I will not get that thing. Now the other one is the infinite loop. You know what is the meaning of saying infinite loop? Most of you will encounter during the practicals. And what is that? When the while condition is true or false condition is false, forever the loop will not come out. In that case you have to break the your script itself if at all it is unintended. Okay, the next one is function. We will look at the function in the next class, because even though I put it here, let's not venture into that. The other one is the sleep command. I told you how many seconds you need to sleep and the program will sleep. That's all for today. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for your interest. We will meet again in the next class. Thank you.